And we're live.
And like 20 minutes late.
Yeah. Oops.
Fashionably. Okay. Sorry, anybody who's listening to us. We were chatting and we lost track of time. So,
It happens.
it happens.
I know Bandit asked a question.
Yeah.
He said, he said, quick question for the experts. What's the best way of getting dirt and wear stains out of carpet?
Dirt and wear stains out of carpet. So I would have to say like how set in it is. But I do know that different types of white vinegar and baking soda is always a good go-to. Depending on how set in it is, and also how worn down the carpet is, wear stains.
Yeah. How
I mean
long it's been
sometimes,
there.
yeah, I mean sometimes there's just no saving it. It would really depend on just how long it's been there and how bad the stains are.
Yeah. I have found that with carpet, anytime you spill something or if you get mud on the carpet or dirt or whatever, the best thing that I have found to do is to either use a little bit of dish soap or distilled white vinegar and
Mm-hmm.
immediately like put that on there and immediately like take a washcloth or like a scrubbing brush or something and immediately start scrubbing the surface of it and then dry it up.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you have an extractor, using an extractor, but I know, those things are really expensive.
Yeah,
And
you
most
can
people will
rent
usually
them though.
either rent them or
Yeah.
something. But, if you're kind of tight on the budget, just using like a washcloth and a little bit of dish soap and put that on there and immediately scrub it,
Mm-hmm.
that'll prevent it from staining.
Yeah. But yeah, so it just depends. I do agree with you. I do the same thing. White vinegar is amazing. Like even if you add it to like your fabric softener before you like wash your towels and stuff or your bed sheets, especially white bed sheets and towels, it makes it come out perfect all the time.
Yeah, it makes them
Um,
super soft because the
mhm,
thing with softener that I have learned is that you want to use as little softener as possible, or you could just replace it with the vinegar and it doesn't leave a smell.
mm-mm,
And it helps to make your clothes super soft without leaving a chemical residue. And
mhm,
especially with softener, you want to use just like literally a tablespoon is plenty for a full load of laundry. You don't
right.
need any more than a tablespoon because fabric softener can actually damage your washing machine if you're using too much. It can cause it to get clogs and it can start to leave like a film on there, which can actually allow like mold and stuff to start growing on it when it sits for
Mhm,
too long. So it can damage the unit if you're using too much. So just a tablespoon is more than enough.
yeah.
And I have found that just by using just a tablespoon, one of those like jugs of fabric softener will last you months. Like
Yep.
I got ours like 6 months ago, and I probably still have another 2-3 months of use out of it. Like it
Yeah.
goes a long ways.
Another thing too, I also learned like like how like you have those towels that you use for like your cleanup stuff, like for like your rags. When you wash those, if you
Mhm.
actually put a little bit of Dawn soap with it, it actually not only will it help clean, like, on top of your laundry detergent, not only will it help clean the clothes with any type of grime or anything like that, it actually cleans the inside of your washer too.
Right. You only want to use a little bit
A little bit.
though,
Yes.
because otherwise you'll
A
create
little bit.
suds and that'll be a really bad day.
Yes. That'll be
I've
a
made
really,
that
really
mistake
good
before as a kid. It was not a good day.
no, no, it was not. Yeah, that's one thing is like A little bit goes a long way for a lot of things. Like you don't really need to use a whole lot.
Yeah.
Um,
And another good thing to invest in too for your washing machines is I know Home Depot and Lowe's sells them. I don't remember the brand name, but they sell these little tablets that you can put in your washing machine. And
mm,
what they do is that you put your washing machine either on its normal wash cycle or its clean cycle if it has one. I know some do, some don't. If you put that tab in there and then you put it on the self clean cycle,
mhm,
what it does is that it helps to break down a lot of the grime and stuff from behind the strain part of the
mhm,
machine. It helps to break a lot of that down in there and get it flushed out because I honestly, it's funny because I didn't even know that you were supposed to like actually clean your washing machine. I always thought it would be like self cleaning because you're washing your clothes in there, so you would think that it
right.
would clean itself, but it doesn't. And you'll typically start to notice like the best way to tell if you need to clean your washing machine out is your towels. If your
Mhm,
towels come out and they kind of have that weird like mildewy scent to them, but they're like totally dry, that's probably a sign that you need to clean your washing machine out.
mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, JR. Um, Outlaw and Bandit. Yeah, I told them I was like, well, we're gonna have like a house cleaning chat, so I don't know if you guys would be that interested. But you know what? To me, it's a good thing to for people to learn, regardless, male or female. Um, and especially if you know,
Yeah.
um, just to
Because
just to
especially if
keep
you're
things
new to
going.
having a place of your own,
Mhm.
like, I remember when I first moved out of my parents' house and I got my first place, there were a lot of things that I like I knew about, like, obviously, like, cleaning the floors and the counters and doing dishes and stuff, but when it comes to appliances themselves, there were, like, a lot of things that I didn't know that I
Mhm.
kinda had to learn the hard way.
Yep.
Um, like, if you have a garbage disposal, you're supposed to take those apart and clean those out. You have a strainer in your dishwasher, you're supposed to take that apart and clean it. Cleaning your ventilation filter for the stove, the fan
Mhm.
filter, cleaning that out. Even with like the electric stoves, for a long time, I didn't know that you could actually pull the electric burners out and that top part actually lifts up so you can clean underneath there. For a
Mhm.
long time, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
um, so yeah, there's a lot of things that I learned over time, and I know like especially if you're new to having your own place, or maybe you're not used to having those types of appliances, you kind of might not know like the things that you need to do with those.
Mhm. So I think Bandit wasn't here when we gave our answer to his question. um, so Bandit, yeah, I don't think he was. He's wanting to try to steam it.
Yeah, if you're
Um,
gonna steam clean it, I would definitely recommend doing the distilled white vinegar first.
yeah.
And putting the distilled white vinegar on there, kind of scrubbing that in really good, because that's gonna help break up what's on the surface.
Mhm.
And then going over it, because the thing with the steamer, um, you have to be kind of careful with the steam cleaners because it honestly it kind of depends on the fabric that the carpet is, but a lot of carpets tend to use kind of plastic fibers woven in. And when you're using the steam cleaner, you want to be careful with those because if you end up running the steam too hot or leaving it on one spot for too long, you can actually damage the fibers of the carpet because it'll start melting the plastic fibers that are in it.
And unraveling.
Yeah, and it'll also cause them to start unraveling as well.
Mhm.
But I have found that using the distilled white vinegar helps to get the stains removed, and it also helps to kind of fluff the carpet back up a little bit.
Mhm. Make
And
sure you
then
dilute the white vinegar though too though.
yeah, otherwise, you know,
Yeah.
you're gonna be dealing with the really strong vinegar smell.
Yeah. So it's like, usually, if you're gonna do I like more of the powerful cleaning, but, like, if you're gonna do, like, a quarter cup of vinegar and you do a hot 1 hot, or 1 cup of hot water, um, or you could do I like doing even portions, so if I'm gonna do 1 cup of vinegar, I do 1 cup of hot water. Some people, they'll find that to be too strong, um, but for that and he did say I cannot speak. He does say his carpets are 20 years old. Um, so most carpets though within a home, typically if you wear like tennis shoes in the house or anything like that, pets, um, anything like that, then honestly most carpets should be replaced about every 6 to 8 years on average. And again, that depends on if you guys if you wear like shoes in your home, if you have pets, and also the quality of carpet that was originally put in. Um, but if you cannot afford to do that, I would definitely do the white vinegar with hot water. Do that first. There's also the carpet cleaning companies use it too, where it's like a giant once they do their cleaning, once they steamed everything is dried, then they go through. It's almost like a defuzzer kind of brush that you can actually purchase on Amazon as well. And you literally you're essentially raking your carpet, which helps it get that fluffiness as well. You can do that before
Mhm.
cleaning. Um,
You could also use some diluted fabric softener as well. Put it in like an
Mhm.
old like spray bottle. Do a little bit of fabric softener, like half of the cup. Put that in there, and then fill the rest up with water into like a spray bottle, and spray that on the carpet, and then brush it out, and that'll kind of help not only give it a nice fresh scent, but that'll also help kind of fluff the carpet up too and make it softer again.
Yeah, I would do that probably after you're done with the white vinegar solution, the steaming, and then any type of raking. Then I would do the fabric softener because I do the fabric softener myself because I spray that all over my house everywhere. I use my favorite fabric softener. I put it in a bottle with water and I spray it everywhere. Um, getting as clean as I can. So is the white vinegar to water 1 to 1. Again, it just depends on if you want, I'd probably start off with like if you're filling up, say, like a bottle, I'd probably do a quarter to about a quarter cup of white vinegar and then do the rest hot water. I'd start off with that first because you don't want that harsh vinegar scent. Um, if you do see that it's coming up, but it just needs a little bit more, then I would just continue to spray it. Make sure to let it sit too for a little bit. In carpet though, I wouldn't let it sit too long, probably about, I think when I do it, I usually let it sit maybe about 5, 10 minutes and then I start scrubbing. But, um,
But yeah, that's a good way to kind of help remove some of the stains and some of the smells. But with how old the carpet is, and especially since they tend to put that foam padding underneath there, what happens over time is that a lot of those scents and the moisture and stuff ends up soaking into that foam underneath. So even though the surface might look clean, getting to that foam underneath is going to be that's really difficult to get cleaned out, and really the only way to, especially if you're still having a problem with smells afterwards, then that probably means that that foam has gotten wet at some point, and it's the only way to really fix that is to remove it and replace it at
mhm.
that point, because you can kind of cover it up for a little bit using the vinegar and softener, but once it soaks into that foam underneath, there's kind of really no way to get to it unless you replace it at that
Right.
point.
So to make it idiot proof, Brandit, I would do 1/4 cup vinegar, Then I would do at least 1 to 1.5 cup of hot water in a spray bottle. You can then spray it on each stain around the house. Let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then start scrubbing away. After that, if the stains obviously do come up, but you want to refresh the carpet, then I would go ahead and do the steam cleaning as well. Once you're done with the steam cleaning, then I would do you do about another quarter cup with about another full cup of hot water of fabric softener and hot water. So quarter cup of fabric softener, 1 cup of hot water in a spray bottle. And then once everything is dried on your carpet, you go around and you spray your carpet with the fabric softener and water solution. That helps make sure things smell good and the carpet actually becomes a little fluffier. You can also use that solution, the fabric softener, with water along your baseboards, so that way it helps repel dust as well after you're dusting. So it's a twofold kind of process. So I hope that helps. If you need anything else, though, I can always send you a message too on that one. But 1/4 cup vinegar, 1 cup hot water, spray bottle, spray each stain, let it sit 5-10 minutes, scrub, and go from there.
So I wanted to ask you, what do you think about using bleach as a household cleaner?
I personally, I don't have an issue with bleach. So like I will use it if I'm, like for instance, if I'm out of, like I'll occasionally use bleach or occasionally use vinegar. It just really depends. But to me, there's some good reasons to use bleach on certain things. Like one thing I actually like using some bleach on, like if there's like for like showers and bathtubs, like if there's some really harsh like residue or anything just due to like water, if the water here is really hard, I'll do a mixture of bleach and water, scrub that, let it sit, get everything out, scrub everything down, and then rinse that off, and then I'll actually use like either a vinegar, or I'll use I like that foam spray stuff. So I'll use that too. So I like using bleach, but it just depends on what it's being used on. I have it in my home. I'm not against it. Like I'm not opposed to it. And I think that it is obviously good for certain things. I use it for when there's also for like cleaning other things that like I'll dilute it, like if my husband and I are sick, sometimes I'll use that as like as like the first way to clean like something off, and then I'll clean it up again. And it's just an extra kind of protection, if you will, in my mind, to make sure that things are cleaned properly.
Yeah. For me personally, I don't really use bleach for cleaning. Um like my parents and my grandmother, like they were known as bleach queens. Like literally as a
Yeah, my
joke,
mom
one
is
time
too.
we actually took one of my grandmother's bleach bottles and
Mhm.
we bedazzled it. We literally bedazzled it and gave it to her as a Christmas gift.
Oh yeah.
Um, because she used that stuff like all the time, like everywhere in her house.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I don't know, like for me personally, ever since I learned about distilled white vinegar, I prefer to use that instead of bleach because,
Yeah.
like, especially since I have I have sensitive skin, so that's part of the reason why. But another reason why for me too is, especially like in the bathrooms, I don't like using it because I kind of have a paranoia, like with what Bandit was just saying about the whole bleach and ammonia thing.
Oh yeah,
And
no, I don't
so
mix things. I don't mix things at all.
yeah,
So
I
the
don't
only
mix
thing I
things
mix.
either, but even like I know a lot of people like to use it in their toilets and stuff, and I'm like,
Oh yeah.
no, I don't. I don't trust it.
No.
I don't even
Mm-mm.
trust using it on my bathroom floors just in case of that. Like I know it's silly, but because when you're using bleach, you have to use a lot of ventilation. Like you got to open up
Yeah.
all the windows, you got to turn all the fans on, and everything. And so I have pretty much ever since I started living on my own, I've never used bleach to clean anything. I tend to go more for either the distilled white vinegar or I use ammonia instead of using bleach. So I tend to go more for like the Lysol products and the
Mm-hmm.
Clorox products. The only Clorox thing that I will use are their wipes. And I mainly
Yeah.
use their wipes to like disinfect like common like touching surfaces. So like the light switches,
Mm-hmm.
doorknobs, handles, our phones, um, things like that, to kind of disinfect and clean those. But aside
Right.
from that, like I don't know. I kind of just I stopped using bleach, and I've never used it ever since moved out of my parents' house because I just feel like it's like I know like obviously you're supposed to dilute it and not use it straight, but the thing with
Right.
bleach though is that bleach has very limited surfaces that it can be used on because like
Mm-hmm.
for instance we have granite countertops and you kind of have to be careful with using certain cleaning products on those because they do have little pores in them
Yep.
and so that can cause buildup which can cause issues and bleach can actually damage the granite
Mm-hmm.
countertops. They can cause damage to, if you have wood floors, even the vinyl flooring, it can damage those.
Mm-hmm.
It can end up staining a lot of, well, not really staining, but like bleaching out fabrics, and you end up
Yep.
with those orange
Yeah.
spots on everything. It's really damaging the wood and stuff. And so, you can't use it on chrome. You can't use it.
Yeah. Like
So,
when I use it, like I have the little cap that comes on the bleach, like the top cap.
yeah.
Um, I use that, and then fill up an entire bottle of water. Um, and then that's what I use, and like I'll use it for like door handles. Especially like when like after like like whenever I get sick or something, or my husband's sick, I'll just kind of go around and I have like a like a towel that you can obviously store in the wash machine, spray that down, and then because it's to me it's like, well, I have bleach. Like if I have bleach on hand, I'm not going to go out and buy the wipes too. So I'll do a diluting of that, and then once that's all dried, then I usually go through and um I usually have like another like I'll wipe that down properly, and then I let it dry. Um and so that's kind of like my way of making sure. I think probably because when I worked in the schools too, especially like when I got to help out for like when I first started and I was working like the preschool sections, we used bleach to clean all the toys at the end of the day. Like they would soak in bleach. And so I think that's probably why too. Like I'm used to using it because of all of the nastiness that kids would bring into schools. So I think I'm probably because I'm used to it that way. But I will use it like on door handles. Um, but I don't use it. I'll use it maybe again if I'm out of white vinegar, then I'll use it for my whites. Um, but other than that, um, it's pretty much just, or like I said, I'll use it to if there's any like hard water stains in like my shower or the tub,
Mhm.
I'll use it on that first. I'll scrub it down, clean it, rinse it out, rinse everything out, and then I'll clean with another product just because I like the smell of something else. So it's just kind of like I'm OCD though when I'm cleaning, so that's also another reason why.
Yeah, like like the one thing that I like about using distilled white vinegar instead too is because unlike using bleach, it's a lot more versatile. You can pretty much use it on anything. Like you can use it on your clothes, you can, put it on um when it's diluted, use a little bit. You can use it on wood surfaces, you can use it on granite, you can use it on chrome,
Hmm.
glass, tile, wood. So even like drywall, as long as you're not scrubbing one spot like too hard, you can
Hmm.
actually use it on like painted surfaces as well, and it won't
Yeah,
cause
as
the
long as I
paint to
think it's
bubble up or
a semi-gloss, you're able to use it.
yeah. Like I've found that as long as you're not like sitting there and like using like a soft rag, like one of the microfiber towels, one of
Hmm.
those with it really diluted, and you just kind of scrub it like lightly, you can usually remove like stains that way without removing too much of the paint. Like
Hmm.
you're gonna always like remove a tiny little bit, but it's not enough to like remove to where you see the coat underneath, unless they
Right.
only did like a single coat, which is ridiculous. Like why would you do that? But but yeah, I found that's really good stuff to use. um Another thing too that I have found um is candles, because I love using scented candles, and I kind of use them more with the season. So like during the winter time, I like to kind of go with more like wood smells or pine smells. During the springtime, I like to go with more like floral smells. The summertime, I like to use more fruit scents. And then during the fall time, I like to use like kind of a cozy smell. So, like, the pumpkins, the cinnamons, apple pies, that kind of stuff. And I'm kind of weird. Like, every time, as soon as I'm done cleaning a room, I will light a candle in that room. And it just kind of like leaves a nice, just like a nice homey smell, like when you come
Hmm.
in the door and coming home and you're smelling, the the candle or whatever. Because like I like to use like the softener and stuff as well to like spray down a room. Like I spray like my carpets, pretty much all the fabrics, carpets, curtains, bedding, the rugs, all that stuff. But the thing with those, though, is that those scents only hang around for so long. And the nice thing about having the candles is that once they are lit and the wax starts to melt, they kind of last throughout the entire duration. And, but I will not light a candle in the room if the room is not completely clean. I don't know what it is. I don't know why I have that weird little thing. It's like if the room's not clean, I won't light the candle. It can't be lit unless the room is completely clean. I
It's
don't
like the
know why.
finishing touch.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I won't light it until the room is like completely clean. Then I'll light the candle, because I guess it's like a symbol of like, if the candle's lit, that means I cleaned the room today. So don't mess it up. When I clean that day, because the candle will be lit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean candles are nice definitely to have around the house. I can't have too harsh of like my husband's not a big fan of like floral smells, so I keep the floral smells typically out of the home. He likes more just um
The subtle kind of
more,
smells.
yeah, more of the very subtle scents.
That's why I like using
So
candles though, is because they're usually pretty subtle. Like they leave like a hint of the smell, but it's not like overpowering. That's why I don't like using, like, I hate using the aerosol like air fresheners. I don't like using those because they're so overpowering, and they only last like maybe an hour or two and then they're gone.
hmm.
So that's part of the reason why I like to use candles, is because they're very subtle. The wax, like the melted wax plates, they're okay, but I don't really like those either because I hate having to deal with like cleaning the wax plates afterwards. And those
Hmm.
little like wax pod things are like kind of expensive for them just being, cut up pieces of candle wax. But at the
Yeah.
same time, they're good if you have like it once you get done like getting towards the bottom of a candle and you got a little bit of that melted wax at the bottom. It is like it's nice to have one of those to kind of finish off what's remaining in the candle if you only got a little bit of it left. Um, like it's good for those. The oil infusers, I've never really gotten into those. Like I don't know. I kind of just prefer candles. Like I like the aroma that they give. It's a subtle aroma, but it's there. And I also it just kind of gives it more of a homey feel.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I like candles too. I only though have them in areas where, um, like I keep one like in like our dining room, the kitchen area. So because I'm always just moving from room to room, so
Hmm.
I don't want to forget leaving something burning.
Yeah, like
Um,
I found to leave them in areas where they're visible. Like I won't put them in our bedroom
yeah.
because they're not very visible to me. The only rooms I keep them in, at least in our apartment, is I keep one up on our bar because our kitchen and our living room slash dining room, they're all kind of one room. So it's a central area that I can see the candle no matter where I
Mhm.
am in here. And then I keep one in the bathroom because, to kind of keep it smelling nice, and to also because I can kind of, we leave our bathroom door open when it's not being used. So I can see the candle from um, in here whenever I'm sitting out here. Like I can like lean back and see it. But if you use the candles, keep them in an open area. Place them like in the middle of the surface. Don't put them close to the wall or close to the curtain. Don't set anything, right next to them, because you don't want to accidentally start a house fire. I've seen a lot of people do that where they, end up putting them too close to the edge of a table or something and they fall off, or putting them too close to, putting them next to their towel rack and their towel rack catches on fire, putting them too close to the wall and then the wall catches on fire. Like, so I've learned to, like, keep them in a centered spot away from everything else. Don't put them on the edge of anything. And yeah, you should be fine. Just
Mm.
make sure that the candles are all blown out before you leave to go anywhere, which typically, in order to avoid me forgetting to blow them out before I leave, I usually won't light them unless I know I'm going to be home the rest of the day. But if I know I'm going to be leaving to go somewhere, then I won't light them yet.
Yeah. Well, and Bandit does say too, just be careful. I often use candles because they link candles to lung issues later in life, like smoking. The candles are okay. It's the scents they're not good for you or for your lungs. Um, I guess I could see that. Yeah, just the different breathing that in. Um, but I guess going on though too though, because I know we wanted to talk about uh, cleaning and um, because I think sometimes that's some things quite a few people do struggle with. Um, how to keep their home clean, how to um, just keeping their home clean with when they're working full time and
Yeah,
everything else sometimes can be a little bit of a struggle depending on how much stuff they have. Oh, give me one
maintaining
second.
it.
Sorry, one
Okay.
second.
Yeah, so as far as maintaining a clean house, um, there's a few things that I have learned that kind of help me. Um, for instance, I hate doing laundry. I hate doing it. It's more so like putting the clothes away that I tend to kind of struggle with because, after doing, a little laundry, especially if you have like a lot of kids and, if you're working full time and stuff like that, or if you have a lot of clothes, it can be a little bit overwhelming. One thing that I have started doing, which has helped me out, is to not use a dirty clothes basket. And the reason why is because with using the dirty clothes basket, you tend to just kind of start piling clothes in there. and piling them and piling them and piling them until they reach to a point where it's like when you do decide to do laundry, now you got like 3 or 4 loads that you have to do or more. I have found instead to not use a dirty clothes basket and to instead put my dirty clothes directly in the washing machine. And then once the washing machine is full, then to just run a load. So then that way it helps me to keep up with my laundry and not let it like pile up to the point where now I have to spend an entire day washing and putting away clothes. Once the washer's full, I can just run it and then switch the load over. And then I only have to deal with that one load of laundry, and it makes it so much easier to keep up with, especially throughout the week, because then it also allows you to pretty much kind of always, have those clothes clean and available for when you need them instead of like,
Mhm.
you go looking for something that you needed to wear that day and then you find out you can't wear it because it's in the dirty clothes and you don't have time to wash it. So it kind of like ruins your whole like outfit for the day because now that piece you really wanted to wear is dirty and you can't wear it now. So I have found doing that is like really helpful for me, to just, don't use dirty clothes baskets. Just put your dirty clothes right in the washer. Then when it's full, you can just run it, and it helps to be able to keep up with laundry a little bit better.
Hmm. I guess probably because I'm one of those weird persons. I really like folding laundry. Like I even have those little I don't know if you ever worked with clothes or not, but those little folding shirt things that they use at like at clothing stores. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I've never worked with clothing.
Okay. I'll have to send you a picture what I got. But there's like this, it's a big square and it has different cutout areas. So like you put your shirt there or you put your shirts there and you flip them over and they fold into a perfect little square. And that's how I don't know why I find I'm really weird. I love doing that. And also too, our laundry is downstairs, but all of our bedrooms are upstairs. And so having a basket for me to carry is a lot easier. So I do use like a laundry basket, and then I also have a clean laundry basket. So I have a one for dirty clothes and one for clean clothes, so I can carry it back up and downstairs. Um, but um, but yeah, for me though too though, it's I don't know. I probably because I enjoy laundry. I don't know why. I think I just like the smell of laundry going. It reminds me a lot, I guess, of my childhood because my
Yeah.
mom was, with a family of five, she was always doing laundry. Um,
Like I don't mind
so
like washing and drying the clothes. It's putting them away that I hate
oh no,
doing.
I love that
I
too.
hate putting clothes away because um because the only clothes that I fold are like our pants, socks, and underwear. Everything else I put on hangers.
Uh-huh.
So it's like going through the hassle of like having to put hangers on everything and then getting everything folded. And then when I fold them, I put them in separate piles. So like one is for jeans, one's for shorts, one's for sweatpants, one's for like khakis or whatever, one's for work pants. So like I separate them into like all these different groups and folding all of them a particular way and then putting them all away. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably psychotic. I color code my
I
closet.
don't really color code. The only separation that I do is with my husband's clothes. I will separate his uniform stuff from his
Yeah,
civilian stuff.
yeah,
But other than that, like I'm not too like the most I do with color coding is like because he has a ton of brown shirts and a ton of white t-shirts, so I'll put
yep.
all those together. But other than that, like I don't really, I don't really color code too much because pretty much almost all my clothes are the same color. So
Oh, like I set up my husband's clothes almost like an assembly line. So it's like literally like how it goes through the closet is the first thing he needs to put on. So like his socks, underwear, and then it goes to, his shirts. And then the last thing are his pants. And then you have his depending on what, the season, what kind of if he needs a sweater or a jacket. And it's like I do like an assembly line. And it really helped when he was active duty because, in the mornings, you know, they're getting up at 5 a.m., rushing to PT, coming back home. They only had like 40 minutes shower change, breakfast, head back, and then, he had to leave by a certain time to make sure he got there on time for formation. And so having that assembly line process for all of his clothes just made things super easy. Now I put him out for him in the mornings, but just because it's just something I do. But his clothes though are set up like an assembly line still, so it's literally here's this drawer, this drawer. So it goes 1, 2, 3, and then he can pick out what pants he wants, and then if he needs a sweater or a jacket. And so I find that to be like, especially like if someone has like a difficult time in the morning, having some type of that routine or getting your clothes out the night before um, is always a helpful thing because then it allows you just to kind of go through the early morning process, the motions, and then that way you're always kind of set on what you need to grab. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know why. Like I like looking at like a freshly put together closet. I'm really weird. Um, we'll just say I'm weird. We'll just go from there. Um, but yeah, like having like I got it from my sister because she color codes her stuff too, and
Yeah.
so
I don't
and like
go
her
that
stuff is like
far.
it's your like sleeveless like tank tops, and then it goes to like your t-shirts and dress shirts, and then everything based off of that is color coded.
Yeah,
We're just a little
I don't
crazy.
really go that far, but I will kind of, the only thing I combine color wise are like his brown shirts and his white shirts. I like to
Yeah.
keep them all together and then keep all of his uniforms together and then separate his uniforms from his civilian clothes. Um, but yeah, other than that, like, because pretty much all of mine clothes are the same color. I only have like a
Mm.
couple of shirts that aren't black. All my other clothes are black though. So,
So you and I
um,
need to go shopping at some point, and we need to expand the wardrobe.
well, I definitely need to do some clothes shopping. That's for sure. Because I don't have a whole lot, so I have to like do laundry pretty often because I
Mhm.
don't have a whole lot right now. Because a lot of the clothes, because I don't go clothes shopping very often. So I don't really have a ton of stuff, and what I do have is kind of reaching its age, so I need to. I don't have the time or the extra money right now, so I've just been making do with what I
Understandable.
got.
Yeah, understandable. But no, when you do though, we'll have to go clothes shopping because yeah, I've
Yeah.
always enjoyed that. So I'm always I like picking out clothes for people and be like, try this on, just try it on, just try it. I promise you'll like it.
But
Um,
yeah, another thing though too when it comes to cleaning is, and I see this all the time all over the internet and it drives me mad, is please, for the love of God, do not mix cleaning chemicals.
yes.
Don't do it. It's not only hazardous to your health, it's extremely dangerous
Yep.
because unless you are a chemist who has, knows all of the chemical compounds and how they react to each other on a chemical level and how they break down and rebuild themselves and what they're going to turn into, don't do it. Like, I know there is these weird videos on like TikTok and Facebook and stuff of people like putting all of these powders and liquids and stuff in their toilets and playing with them. First of all, that's a really good way to completely destroy the plumbing in your house. And that's going to cost you like tens of thousands of dollars in repairs. There's actually a kid who was fined and had to serve jail time for putting Orbeez down his toilet and completely blocking the city's sewer system. Um, yeah, that did not end well for him.
No.
You can, you'll break your toilet doing that, and you're literally creating chemical bombs. Like, it's not a good idea. It's not safe. and it can actually be really, really harmful for the surfaces that you're using it on. Like, I know there are a lot of people, especially old school people, who like to mix bleach with dish soap or bleach with Pine Sol. You know, don't do that. It tells you right there on the bottle, to not mix it with other chemicals. And especially if you read the back of your dish soap bottle, it tells you specifically, do not mix with bleach.
Yep.
Do not mix with bleach. And the Pine Sol tells you the same thing. Do not mix it with bleach. Just don't mix your cleaning chemicals. You don't need to. They are designed and made to serve their purpose by themselves. You don't need to mix them. Now, if it's something like, well, you use bleach to clean your floors and you don't want to be left with that bleach smell, okay, wash the floors with the bleach first, let it dry, and then go over it with the Pine Sol. That's okay, but don't mix the two together at the same time. When it comes to your dishes, don't use bleach on any surfaces or anything that you're going to be eating from. The reason
Yep.
why is because bleach leaves a residue, and that can make you really, really sick when you use it on your counters and on your tables and with your dishes and even on your stove. Don't use bleach on those things because it will contaminate the food and it can make you really, really sick. There's a reason why in restaurants and stuff, they don't use bleach. All of the chemicals that they use are food safe, and pretty much literally all they are is vinegar. They
Right.
mainly use a vinegar mixture to clean stuff with because it's food safe, so it's not going to make you sick. Um, and even with like the whole like what is it called, like sea jacks, I think is what it's called, is that or the comet powder. Um, don't use powders. I personally I avoid powders, and the reason why is because, especially for plumbing, you really want to be very careful with those because especially if you have a septic tank, it can cause gas buildup in your septic tank and can damage it. It can cause clogs in the pipes and end up damaging your pipes, and now your drains are all backed up and not working properly. If you need to use some kind of powder, for instance, if you have a food disposal or if you want to clean your drains out, use the distilled white vinegar and the baking soda. Um, you can use those because the distilled white vinegar is actually going to help break down that baking soda along with hot water to help rinse it down. That's okay. But I personally would say stay away from the comments, stay away from the CJAC stuff, stay away from those things and using them with plumbing stuff because it will cause clogs and gas builds up and issues later on down the line that are going to be very, very expensive to fix. So please don't fill your toilet up with comment and play with it. Like, don't do that. You're really playing with fire when you do that because you're breathing in all of those fumes, which are really bad for your lungs, especially if you have certain conditions like asthma and stuff. That will cause your asthma to flare up and potentially put you into an asthma attack doing that. And even if you don't, it can cause scarring in the lungs. It can also make you really sick because yeah, you're playing with chemicals, but you're playing with chemicals, and when you start exposing yourself to too many of them or too much of them, you can make yourself sick doing that. So please don't mix cleaning chemicals. There's no reason to do that. It's totally unnecessary and it's extremely dangerous to do so.
I 100% agree. And it's okay to figure out which chemicals you do want to clean with or what you want to clean with. Just don't mix them. um, you know,
Right.
it's because something's on the internet and stupid people are doing it. It's not easy. For another thing too, for cleaning habits that I think would really help out a lot of people, um, and I've learned this just with with trying to help other. Hey, Queen, his son Kiss is in the room. But to help out with other people too is people get overwhelmed with trying to figure out like what to do. Excuse me. I think probably one of my things is creating lists and marking things off as you go. Um, and I do like a weekly list, and you can actually just do it on your phone. So that means it pops up, so it reminds you. So if you need to um, do any type of vacuuming, mopping, dusting, anything like that, cleaning your bed sheets, do that at least once a week. Um, Depending on what kind of job you have. If you are a gentleman and you have more of a physical demanding job, and if you don't shower right away when you get home, I'd probably recommend washing your sheets a lot more. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but for people though that do struggle with just keeping things clean, or like you said, they're just now getting their own home, or they have their own home, they don't have help with any of the chores around the home. Creating just a schedule for yourself can be really beneficial, and then just sticking to it. Um, like one of the things my family used to do when I was growing up is every Saturday morning, without fail, unless somebody was sick, every Saturday morning, we woke up around 6:30, 7 in the morning, because of my dad and my mom. We'd have breakfast. We got to watch about 30 minutes of Sunday morning or Saturday morning cartoons, and then we were cleaning. And then we were not allowed to um, go out and play or anything until all of our stuff was cleaned. And so that's just something that we've all kind of catered into adulthood. Of course, obviously adjusting based off our schedules, and all of us now being married. Um, so that changes things too. But just having a schedule, writing things down, marking things off, putting things into your calendars and your phones, just to remind yourself to do something. It helps make sure that things don't pile up and then you become overwhelmed. And then instead of handling
Yeah.
it, some people I've noticed where I've helped them clean their homes, they get so overwhelmed because they didn't keep to a schedule that things just kept piling up. And then they had something like, 10 loads of laundry to do, nothing to wear in their home, no sheets, nothing available. And there's frozen, like they couldn't figure out what to do. So,
Right. Just
um,
kind of take it one step at a time. Like one thing
mhm,
I've learned that helped me out was I had a daily schedule and a weekly schedule. So I had a schedule to where there were things on certain days of the week that I would do. So like one day I would clean the bathroom, like that day was meant to deep clean the entire bathroom. One day is to do the entire bedroom. Another day is to like deep clean the entire kitchen. Another day is to, completely clean the living room. Another day is for mopping floors, vacuuming and mopping floors. Another day is to, do all of my dusting around the house, and then kind of having a weekly as well. For certain things, like mainly like deep cleaning out the appliances, like cleaning out the oven and underneath the stove, cleaning out the fridge, cleaning out the garbage disposal, cleaning out all the filters in the house, things like that. Um, Another thing that helps too is just maintaining it. If you take something out, when you're done with it, put it back. With dishes, whenever you're done with a dish, instead of just putting it in the sink, just take the extra minute or two to just wash the dish right there and clean it. And then if you have a dishwasher, put it in your dishwasher, put it in the drying rack. And then that way, that kind of helps to prevent the piling up situation from happening. Um, And it's just, it only takes a few seconds to like maybe a minute or two out of your time. And then so that way you don't have the hassle of having to deal with, a bunch of things piling up and trying to do all of that at once, because that's where
Right.
I have found that a lot of like when I would get overwhelmed sometimes, it was because I let things sit for too long and it piled up to the point where it was a lot of work to get all caught up again. And so by maintaining it, you don't really have that stress of having to try and get everything all done at once as long as you maintain it. Like not walking around in the house with shoes on helps to, keep the floors a little bit cleaner. Wiping down surfaces after eating, or, whenever there's a spill or something to like, help reduce the crumbs and stuff. Just simple little things like that. And of course they have other things too, like for your toilets, they make those little tablets that you can put in the toilets to help keep the toilet bowl maintained. I mean, you still got to clean it. I clean mine like once a week. Well, I clean the whole bathroom, but just to kind of help maintain it a little bit more throughout the week, so then it's a little bit easier when you do have to clean it. Doing the things like using the fabric softener on like certain surfaces, like on the baseboards and stuff, so then that way they don't get as much dust build up on them. So then,
Hmm.
you don't have the dust as often, or it's a lot easier to do so because there's not as much buildup on them. Just simple things like that. And then I have there's also other things you want to do like once a year, like pulling out your fridge, pulling out your stove, and cleaning out from underneath and behind them. Because, stuff can fall down there, especially if you don't have one that's like built in, like to the counters. Stuff can get like underneath and behind them and on the sides. So pulling those out and getting all those cleaned out. Um, pulling out furniture, rearranging furniture to clean and stuff. Washing, the rugs and everything, getting all those cleaned, shampooing the carpets, getting the carpets shampooed and clean and all nice and fresh. Just, reorganizing your pantry, wiping out the shelves and everything. Um, just setting up a schedule for yourself. And then once you have that schedule set up to where, you have those daily and weekly chores, then that way it helps you to keep it maintained. So then that way you don't have to feel like you're doing it all at once on one day, because
Hmm.
that can be kind of overwhelming for some people. And then, just maintaining it.
Yeah. Well, Ms. Sunkus did ask two questions. The first one is how you keep bugs out. It depends on where you live too and how bad bugs are within your area or your state. Because of where we live, we actually do have a pest control company, but there's other things you can do as well. Um, and that is, of course, making sure that things around your house that can lead to the outdoors are properly sealed. So anything within like your door jambs, getting weather strips along your doors, checking your windows, making sure all of that stuff is sealed, that there's no rips inside your screens, not leaving doors open. Of course, sweeping, cleaning things up, not just inside, but also outside your home. So like your porches, your backyards, your garage, cleaning all of that out. Um, dewebbing. If you do not have a pest control company, dewebbing is always good to do. Just take a broom and just run along the lower eaves of your house and try to get all the um, webs and stuff done. Essentially, if you do all of that and you seal up any types of holes and things around the home, that can really help lower your chances of getting
Hmm.
pests in the home. Of course, everyone's going to get that.
There are.
Spiders inside. So a fun fact, if there's spiders in your home, our homes are not the ideal environment for spiders. They're typically then chasing other types of pests. And so for spiders in the home, I would definitely go around the outside of your home. De-web, if you don't have a pest control company, de-web things at least once a week. Spray things down. excuse me, I'm sorry, my throat's itchy. If you have like a hose, spray around the house, clean everything down, sweep everything on your patios. Again, make sure everything is sealed. Try to keep doors, if they don't have like a screen door, properly closed. Um, and then, just make sure that all your screens and everything don't have extra holes and stuff in it as well. So those are like the biggest things you can do. Another thing is like if you go to places um, like Sam's Club, like those big box stores like a BJ's, if they have those boxes there where you can put your stuff in to help you carry it, never take those home, ever, because they can actually bring in pests as well.
Another thing, something that actually really helps with spiders and flies and gnats, they hate peppermint.
Mhm.
So if you get some of like the natural oil peppermint and you can dilute it with a little bit of water and put that in a spray bottle, spray it on your like around your trash cans, around your doorways and windows and stuff like that. Anywhere that you're seeing those issues, um, it will help dry them out and also keep them out. That is something that I actually used in Michigan because Michigan has a huge problem with gnats for whatever reason. I don't know why Michigan's so bad about those. And then even when I was in St. Louis, we had a big problem with yeah, you can put that peppermint oil in pretty much anything. The only thing I wouldn't recommend putting it in is on like your counters and in your dishes. But yeah, you can like, you can spray it down on like the walls like doing a light mist. Spray it on the walls, on your floors, like mix it with your mop water, spray it on your furniture and stuff, and especially around like your baseboards, the bottom of your doorways, and even along the outside of the house, um, because they really don't like peppermint, because peppermint's got that that mint to it. It's really kind of potent. Like it's if you've ever had like really strong peppermint, how it makes like your eyes water and stuff.
Mhm.
They really don't like that scent. I know there's like for spiders, you can also use tea tree oil. You can use eucalyptus is another one that they don't like. They don't like lavender, but peppermint works really good for both of them, and it's a deterrent. It helps to keep them away because they don't like those. And I usually would do that about once a week, and I never had an issue with gnats or spiders. You can also make a little gnat trap. I know that there's a couple videos on YouTube that can show you how to do it, but essentially you can take like a soda bottle or a water bottle, cut it in half, and then flip the top part to where the top part of the bottle is facing inside, like it's inside of the bottom part, and then fill the bottom part up with a little bit of dish soap, sugar, and some water. Dilute it with water, and the sugar will draw the gnats in, but then they will get stuck in there. They'll get stuck in the water and they're not able to get back out, and then the dish soap will help kill them. That's kind of a little like cheap, easy little gnat trap that you can use, and I have found that that works best because because I hate using like the sticky like string traps. I hate having those around the house. Like they're ugly and they're messy and they're kind of a pain to deal with. What I found with those, they're super cheap, easy to make, and you can leave them out for about a week or two, and then once they're full, you can just throw it away, and you've caught your gnats, and then whenever you start to have another buildup of them again, you can just make another one. But peppermint works very good at keeping out flies, spiders, gnats, and even other little critters too, like those weird little centipede things. The ones with like the really like super long legs. I don't remember what they're called. They're super creepy though. The pincher bugs. They're
Mhm.
like the little centipedes with like the really big pinchers on the end. I can't remember the name of them, but it helps deter those as well. So yeah, peppermint is really, really good at keeping little bugs and stuff out. Um, Especially like around your trash cans and stuff, because the reason why you're having spiders is usually because there's other pests around, like the
Hmm.
flies and the gnats. So if you got flies and gnats, you're probably going to see spiders around too. Um and so most of the time, typically once you start to deal with the flies and gnats and stuff, the spiders are eventually going to go away. But I tend
Yeah,
to use both anyways, because I hate spiders and I hate flies and gnats too. So I would rather just get rid of them both at the same time and be done with them. But yeah,
yeah,
de-webbing, being cautious about like having food out anywhere, making sure you're keeping your floors really clean, the counters really clean, the stove and stuff, you know, um, taking out your trash often. And then, of course,
hmm,
like spraying down the trash cans with that peppermint oil really helps as well. And then, if it's like a super bad problem, you don't even have to dilute it. Just take a little bit of that peppermint oil and just put it right around the rim of your trash cans, and it not only like helps to kind of cover up the stinky scent um, from the garbage in there, but it's really potent at that point, so it's really going to deter them.
yeah.
um,
You
and
can
then
put
of
them on
course, like,
the little cotton balls, and
yeah,
put
like
the
using
cotton
the
balls
cotton
at the
balls.
bottom of your trash cans too, with
Yeah.
the peppermint.
And then, of course, also making sure that you're cleaning out your trash cans as well, like rinsing them
Hmm.
out anytime there's like a spill or a leak, or if they start to smell, just rinse them out really good, because
Yeah.
that'll help kind of prevent that too. But yeah, peppermint oil is great for that.
And if you do have a green thumb, you can always plant peppermints. You can also go to your local nursery, because again, each state is different. So we can't state, which state, like where we live, because Harley and I live in the same state. Mosquitoes are a big thing. So we're going to want to plant lavender, because lavender is a big deterrent of mosquitoes. Um, it just depends on your state. But if you want to plant, want to keep things around, like you can actually do like little window planters, and that helps keep things away from your windows and your screens. Again, it just depends on what you're trying to avoid at that point. But that's, of course, if you have a green thumb and depending on the weather of your state, if they'll allow that. Um, if not, though, peppermint oil is always is a big deterrent for a lot of pests. And of course, just keeping, like I said, sealing up any type of entryways, de-webbing, using weather stripping along your doors, making sure that there's, checking, because you can pull out all your screens and then rescreen them. Um, so if any of those, of course, are ripped up, you can obviously take those down and redo that, instead of having to buy new window screens and everything else. So just simple things like that can really help, at least for us. Now, again, though, you know, we're not experts, but this is what I have learned and what Harley has learned. Um, and then, yes, and then I think Harley did answer, yes, you can put the peppermint in your water. You just put a few drops. Um, Honestly, you can put whatever, as long as it's um, like in your mop water. Um, most essential oils, like if you, as long as you like the scent, you can put a few drops in there. Um, and then she said, wash the rugs. So can you wash the rugs? Um,
It depends on the type
on the
of
rug.
rugs that you
Yeah.
have. Like if you have one of those really big rugs, then you're gonna have to take it to a some dry cleaners do it, some don't, but the most places usually have a like a rug cleaning business where they like specifically specify in cleaning rugs, especially places
Hmm.
that like sell rugs. They usually either offer that service or know somebody who offers that service. But if there's not one available, um, then with the really big rugs, using like one of those carpet cleaners on them helps. I usually, because my parents used to have like one of those huge, like old area rugs, and you had to take it outside and usually hang it
Beat
over
it.
a railing or something, beat it up, beat all the dust out of it and all that stuff. And then using one of those carpet cleaners to like help clean it out.
Hmm.
And like earlier that we were saying, you can use the distilled vinegar if there's any like stains or smells or anything to help get those out of it. And then afterwards, you can spray it with some diluted fabric softener and brush it, and that'll help kind of re-soften it back up, make it all fluffy again. Um, with my
Unless it's a
smaller
ruggable,
rugs,
then you can put
because
those inside a wash machine.
yeah, because I usually my smaller rugs, the ones that I have, they don't have the rubber backing on them, so I can just put
Hmm.
those in my washing machine. But if you
Yeah.
have the rugs that have the rubber on the back, um, be very careful with those. Especially don't put them in your dryer because it will tear that rubber backing off.
Yep.
You always want to air dry those. And if you do put them in your washing machine, wash them with cold water. And don't use fabric softener with those. Just wash them with the detergent. Um, and just make sure that you hang dry them instead because the dryer will dry up that rubber backing and cause it to start peeling and breaking off, and then you got a big old mess in your dryer. um, but yeah, that's I usually since I have like really small just cloth rugs that I use in like my kitchen, pretty much just in my kitchen right now. I just throw those in my washer like once a week and just wash them out.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, with like the really big rugs, you either have to use like because they have like special machines that they use. If you can, if you have like a concrete surface that's big enough or a driveway, um, one thing that you can do, I don't know if you've ever seen like those, there's a bunch of them all over YouTube, but like the rug cleaning videos, literally what
Oh, the
they'll
power
do,
washing?
well, like what they'll do is they'll put like some soap and dilute it into like one of those, the watering cans that you would use for plants.
Hmm.
They put them in there and then they'll like put that over the carpet, and then they'll use like a metal, it's essentially like a weighted like scraper, and they just like scrape the water off, and they'll do that like 3 or 4 times to like get all of the dirt and everything out, and then they usually put it in a machine to like finish cleaning it out, but as long as you like scrape it out really really good until the water runs clear and you rinse it and get all the soap out of it, and like get as much water out of it as you can, and then you can hang dry it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thankfully, though, they are coming out, though. Like, one of the things that I've always done, too, at least for our place, just because we have dogs, um, I make sure that even if I have to spend a little bit extra and I'll budget for that, like, I'll make sure, like, I'll hold off on buying rugs just so I can buy a rug that I can either fit in my washing machine, or if I need like more of a larger size, I can go down to like a laundromat and use that. Simply just for the overall convenience of that. Um, I know not everybody um, either what they're looking for or what kind of what they need or whatever for their home, but that's something though I've found like if it can hold up to two German Shepherds, I'm like, all right, it's pretty solid. So that's one thing too is I'll just make sure that the rugs that I do put in my home that they are something I can clean, because also with children, with pets, with allergies, if people wear their shoes in your home, like that's a lot of stuff, and that's the kind of stuff like you have to clean on a weekly basis because that stuff builds up. And so for those types of things, I typically I'll hold off and put money aside if I need to, or if I can afford it, I will purchase the kinds of rugs that I can put inside a washing machine. Um, and
Yeah.
then, that way it's just easier overall because again, those are the types of things where, again, if you have kids or pets or people wear shoes in your home, that's something you do want to clean on a more regular basis compared to say like your comforter or something like usually I clean those like on a weekly basis, but rugs too are typically a weekly basis for me. But
Yeah.
again, it depends
Bedding.
on again your home and the type of home you have.
Yeah, because bedding is one of those things. I think kind of depends on the person. Like usually once a week is okay, but if you have someone who's like a night sweater, like they sweat a lot while
Yeah,
they're sleeping, you're probably gonna wash them like more like two,
wash
three
them. Yeah,
times a week, like a lot more often. And then also,
yeah.
one thing that I know is that like to always try and take a shower or bath right before you go to bed, so then that way
Hmm.
when you're getting into bed, like, you're clean and then it doesn't dirty up your bedding as often, so you don't need to do it so much.
Hmm.
Um, kind of getting into the habit of doing that. Um, because I mean, for me, that works for me, and it's something that I prefer to do. But I know some people, due to their work schedule or their lifestyle or whatever, that might not be totally feasible for them. Which just means you're gonna have to wash your bedding a lot more often. Um, because like, especially if like you have one way that you can tell that your bedding needs clean, especially like your pillowcases and stuff, is if you're waking up and you notice that like your face is getting really oily. Like if you
Okay.
wake up and have a lot of oil on your face or if your hair is kind of greasy, that's usually a sign that, your bedding probably needs cleaned. Um, because I know some people like to use the silk sheets and stuff. Because I've heard like using the silk sheets is like better for your hair, I guess.
Hmm.
I don't know. Like I don't like to use the silk sheets because cleaning those is kind of a pain because
Yeah.
you can't clean silk the same way you do cotton or linen.
Yeah. And I mean, and let's just be real, cotton is typically also easier on the budget. Um, like if unless you're gonna buy like, like the really expensive silk, but like, the cheaper stuff though, I mean that stuff you can easily like it seems to pill very easily. Like it seems to kind of I don't know. I tried it just because I heard the same thing and it just kind of fell apart. Welcome back, Outlaw. He's probably stream hopping again. But
But
um
yeah,
one thing too, not just for and I think because we're also talking about just feminine cleaning, not just for your homes, but also your cars. Um, I know like a lot of times, guys, I know a lot of guys are like, don't touch my car, that's my car. But one thing too, I'll do for my husband, and I encourage for other women to do as well, because I think it's just can be helpful. Um, like on the weekends, like if you vacuum out his car for him or you clean up his car for him, like I keep trash bags in the car for my husband so that way he can properly put trash away because I don't like it just tossing it on the seat. Just things like that too. So, it's that way it's like every area is cleaned. Um, and just sometimes even just a simple vacuuming out his car, vacuum out your car, wiping things down, things like that. Um, is to me it's just a nice thing to do and to keep I don't know, like to me when I go into a clean space, whether that be my home or our cars, it feels good. to go into a clean space.
Right.
And I know, like, for a lot of people, um, like my husband, he's said it too. Like, he enjoys coming home to a clean home because, he's walked into quite a few homes where, like with other soldiers, like, he went over their house for a second, whatever, and he said their homes were trashed. And he goes, and it gives you like almost like anxiety to come home to.
Right. Anxiety, dread,
Mhm.
makes you feel really overwhelmed.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, if that's another thing I just always kind of put out there, like, if um, for anybody, like if they do have a spouse, significant other, that's always just, I think, a nice little thing to do for them as well, if you can.
Yeah, like one thing that I think is really good for people to check out and look into if you haven't yet or if you're not familiar with it is to check out a thing called 5S. So 5S was developed in Japan back in like the 1980s. And it was developed by a guy who worked at Toyota.
Mm,
And it's used in manufacturing, but 5S can be applied anywhere. You can apply it at home, in your personal life, at your job. Like it can be used anywhere and everywhere. And a lot of people think of it as a system, but it's really a lifestyle, like it's a discipline. And it's really, really helpful to help people become more organized and more um, it helps out a lot. It helps to keep your life a lot more organized. It helps you to keep things more on track and everything. And I definitely recommend people to check out what 5S is and to look into it and to see how it can be implemented because it can also help make your life a lot more efficient. Kind of like, for example, what you do with your husband's clothes and kind of organizing them like an assembly line. 5S is kind of like that. Um, and makes it to where it helps to keep you, organized and efficient.
mm,
It also helps to keep things, um, because it also follows like, having a clean environment is a safe environment.
right.
It also allows you to have standardization. So you have
Mhm,
a specific process that you follow for everything that you do. And so by having that, it allows you to, be a lot more efficient and organized throughout your life. So 5S is a great system to check out, especially for people who like kind of struggle with, keeping things clean and organized and having a hard time being on time with things because, they're busy trying to look for stuff all the time.
mhm,
Um, and like I said, it can be implemented literally everywhere. And it's more of a lifestyle than it is a system. Because I know when I studied it back when I was doing my um, general manufacturing, um, one thing because here in the US there's a lot of people like a lot of manufacturing places that try to implement 5S but fail because they look at 5S as kind of a system and not as a lifestyle or a discipline.
mm,
um and I find that a lot of companies fail at utilizing 5S because they look at it the wrong way. Because to the Japanese who developed it, it's a discipline, it's a lifestyle, and it's a philosophy that you follow. um so yeah, I would definitely recommend checking out the 5S system because it's really really useful. to help kind of get you a little bit more organized and help you to be a lot more efficient. Like setting up, a 5S system in your kitchen, especially when you do a lot of cooking, is really, really helpful because then you're not having to like scramble around looking for stuff. Like it's right there right when you need it. So it allows you to kind of like, cook a lot faster because everything that you need is in its spot and it's right there, and you're not having to like run all across your kitchen trying to get stuff or look for things or unbury stuff. So and like I said, it can be implemented anywhere. You can implement it at home, you can implement it, for your car, you can implement it at work. You can implement it as, your daily schedule, like using it for when you go grocery shopping, or using it for when you're having to run errands and stuff like that. Use it for your bedtime routine. Like it's really, really helpful.
Absolutely. I think this the last. I'll have to check that out for sure. Um, I think though one of the things that's really been helping me since we moved here too, and I have really jumped onto the bandwagon of it. Oh, sorry, my shepherd. Is really deciding what you need in your home, um, and what actually makes you and your spouse happy in your home. So like decluttering is a big thing. Like a lot of people I've noticed that they are also just so overwhelmed with stuff. Um, and I'm not saying like people have to be minimalist, um, but I think though that our culture does kind of praise more the materialistic side of things, and it's okay to have, less. Um, and so one thing that I do in my home, that I've done in my is we are only keeping things that we actually use, things that we need, and then things that have sentimental value. Like we've even cut down on our clothing wardrobes. Like just for my husband and I, we both just, we've cut a lot of it down. And it was just because, you know, we really don't need a whole lot to be content and to be happy. And that also helps with, of course, with the cleaning aspect. If um, if the less you have, of course, make your home beautiful, make it where you come home and it's your sanctuary, but it doesn't need to be filled to the brim with stuff. And then
Right.
crazy, stupid stuff too. Like, um, like I've seen people that have things like it's literally like stuck in the back behind their bookcase and they haven't seen it in years because they never touched that area. And it's like just, it's okay. Like I personally, um, like for me, like right now we're just because we moved here and going through everything and having only a month to move. So it was a little crazy to be able to move here in such a short time. But when we did move here, I've been going through everything like box by box and opening things up, and our pile of donations, what needs to be trashed, what are we keeping, and if we're keeping it, then I put it into two piles of. It's almost like is it a need? Is it a want? Do we really need this? Like, does it have a sentimental value? If it's sentimental, we typically keep it. But then other things we're starting to donate, or if we need to toss it. And that helps keep your home. Um, to me, like the less junk I have in my home, the less junk that I see in other people's homes, the more at peace people are typically at in their homes. Because then they have things that actually mean something to them, things that when they walk in, they smile about. They're like, oh, I could do that. And then you also find yourself financially keeping yourself. Um, I like, it's like you know, like a financially decluttering yourself where you're not going out and buying random stuff here and there. You purchase things that actually will bring some type of um, joy to your home, if you will. So that's something too I've always that I've really started digging into. I've had it in the past, but I'm really now like getting a hardcore into for our home here. Um, and then I would say that's yeah, just decluttering is such a big thing. I think Americans we have way too much stuff. Always have too much stuff.
Yeah, we are definitely very consumer happy.
Yes.
um, Another thing too, as far as cleaning tips go, mostly for the ladies, but I know, guys, this might be helpful to you as well. Always keep a bottle of hydrogen peroxide in your house
Yes.
for blood stains. Hydrogen peroxide is best used to help remove blood stains from fabric. It's really, really good. You literally just put a small little drop on there and it will soak it right up like the
Mm-hmm.
stain never even happened.
Yep.
That was something that I actually had learned back when I was caretaking. It was something that one of the nurses had shown me because the guy I was taking care of, he took blood thinners. And so sometimes, if he ended up with a tiny little cut or something, he would bleed quite a bit. Um, Especially for like his like bed sheets and stuff. Which I found was like really, really helpful. And it's literally like as soon as you drop it on there, it soaks it right up, and then you wipe it off, and then it's literally gone. It's like magic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's a good little tidbit. If to help remove blood stains from fabric and clothing and stuff, hydrogen peroxide is really, really good for that. And it
Mm-hmm.
won't stain it. It doesn't leave any stains, or, it doesn't cause any discoloration or anything like that. So hydrogen peroxide is really helpful for that.
Yeah, that's actually a really smart tip. Like even obviously for women, there's a reason why that's mentioned. But for men too, like I remember, like if like the guy is like, I don't know, probably a really standard one that I've always seen like my husband or my dad doing, like if they're fixing something on the car and like, if they cut their hand or if they're using something sharp and, they cut their hand, they automatically put a cloth over it and that helps get out those blood stains too. So, um, that's a really good one. I do like that one. But I would say though, just to kind of, I guess, wrap up my portion of it, um, things that just help me to keep a tidy home. And nobody has to be as OCD as me, because I know I'm probably a little more OCD than most people. Um, but, um, you know, cleaning things, having a cleaning schedule, um, for gentlemen, for ladies, anybody, it's just a big help. It helps you kind of break things down, like mentioned, so that way you're not panicking trying to clean things all at once. Some people do like having that one day where they clean everything. That's perfectly fine. Like some tips, like mentioned, like if you do some fabric softener with some water and you spray it on your baseboards, it helps repel some dust. Um, Distilled white vinegar diluted with water is great for getting out stains, great for your laundry, and just keeping a schedule for cleaning and making sure that um, that because coming home to a clean home really does change people's like your happiness levels. It really does. It
Yeah.
changes quite a bit of things
It
regarding
helps with
people.
your mood.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
helps a lot. And it also, it helps make your home feel a lot more cozy,
Hmm.
a lot more homey. It's a lot, it allows you to just come home and de-stress, especially after dealing with a lot of chaos. After a long day of work, you can come home to a clean home that smells fresh, and allows you to relax and de-stress, to, because coming out of one chaotic situation to come home to another chaotic situation, it starts to wear you down after a while. So,
It does.
um, another thing too is I will go back and I will put some links in the comment section as far as the 5S system,
Hmm.
is it's also known as the lean system. Um, that's really, really great. As I said, it can be implemented everywhere and
Hmm.
anywhere at any time, and it's really, really useful. If you're trying to become more organized and more clean, or maybe you just kind of want some, maybe it's something you haven't thought of that maybe you hadn't realized that you might need. I did post one link in the chat, but I will go back and put them in the comments section as well, for some resources for you guys to check out. But I would definitely recommend checking that out. That's really, really helpful. I definitely use it, especially in my kitchen. It's really, really helpful to have because then I'm not having to like run around and, look for things. Everything is right where I need it when I need it. It's all within reach, so it allows, helps me to kind of get stuff done a lot faster, um, and to help keep me a lot more organized. And then, of course, just maintaining things, just kind of doing little things every day to help, maintain it so that it doesn't get built up and become this huge, overwhelming chore.
Hmm. Absolutely. And um, if obviously if you don't have someone there to help you, like Harley said, just doing things every day, just a little bit, really does help. Um, and if there is any type of cleaning tips or organization tips that anybody wants, you can always ask in the questions, or if you're in the Discord, you can always ask us there. We'd always be happy. If I don't know the answer, I can always look for it and find it for you. Um, but yeah, just keeping a clean home. Speaking just to the ladies, if you do get to uh, either if you work part time or if you don't work and you are the one that's supposed to take care of the home, you know what? Taking care of the home is should be a pride and joy. It should, that's your haven, that's your husband's haven, and I think that we need to we need to remember that. We need to create that haven for them. And again, you don't have to have the fanciest things. You don't have to keep up with the Joneses or follow people on Instagram, have all their filters on pictures of their homes. But you can create a beautiful home just by keeping things clean. Um, and like Harley, maybe just light a few candles here and there too. But I do agree with that, Harley. Though, light those candles. But yeah, so again, it doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't have to be all the new stuff. But as long as you keep it clean and you take pride in the items that you do own, it can still be your haven, and that's the most important thing overall. Harley, do you want to add anything else?
Um, I think for the most part we've covered everything.
Yeah, I guess if anybody has any questions, we can always come back with a part 2 or something. Um,
Yeah.
mostly I'm just chatting because we both like cleaning, really. And this is our channel. We can talk about whatever we want.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, just from there, and um, I don't know. I thought that was a good conversation. I think it's a good one to have, and it's okay to like cleaning. It's okay to enjoy it. Have fun.
Yeah. Have fun with it. Put on some music, just, yeah, have a good time with it. Enjoy it. It's your time.
Yep, absolutely.
Hmm.
But I don't have anything else to add right now, just because I guess I didn't really prepare any like cleaning questions or supplies or anything like that. But again, if anybody does think of anything or has any questions, we can always have a part two.
Alrighty. Well, thanks to everyone who joined us tonight. We hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. If you have any questions, you can message us in Discord or leave a comment down below, and we'll be happy to answer them. I hope everyone has a good night. And thank you for joining.
Thank you. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you, Harley.
Thank you to you as well. Have a good night,
Okay.
guys.
Good night.